On this week's show, we're talking about the power of joy. Did you know that statistically, happy people earn 4% more money? To find out how to turn your career from one that drains you into becoming the love of your life, you need to talk to a career expert, Caroline Sanford from Love Your Career. And today we're also starting in the kitchen with a low-carb transformation of a classic cake that's bound to make you happy. It's Easy Living here with Monique Bradley. Well, know my height and my welcome to my kitchen. If we haven't met before, I'm Monique Bradley and welcome to my place. I'm here live in the YourFixTV studio, and boy, oh boy, today, even if things go wrong, I am determined to be happy. In fact, today's topic really is about the power of joy. I know there's so many people at this time of year starting to get stressed and they're thinking about, oh, I've got to organize everything for Christmas. I've got to get a new haircut in time. I've got to make sure I've got enough money for the kids, and I really hate my job. So I thought today we're going to talk about all of those topics and help you find ways to feel happier, to look happier, and to have the time of your life. So here's my first tip of the day. One of the things when I really struggled with my moods, so I felt really down all the time and I wasn't really happy in my life, is I tried to think of the things that would bring me joy. I call these joy triggers. One of the things that I really love, which helps transform my moods and my attitude, is watching funny cat videos. Pretty simple, huh? One of the other things I really love too is baking. So for me, when I can't concentrate on what I'm doing or I'm feeling really stressed, I come into the kitchen and I get creative, because being creative is a strong part of my personality. So today I thought I would show you a recipe which brings me a lot of joy, because it is all about the power of joy today. And I wanted to share this recipe which reminds me of my favourite auntie, one of my favourite aunties. I come from a big Māori family. Her name is Auntie Bubs, and she's a very elderly auntie now, and she had the cutest smile and the cutest laugh and these beautiful dimples, and she was an incredible baker. And one of my favourite recipes from her was sponge cake. And it was always such an honour. And I think a lot of us have these memories of delicious food that makes us smile. And sponge cake, Auntie Bub's sponge cake, was always one of those recipes. So I thought, you know, being a low carber now, how am I going to transform this recipe into a recipe that's going to serve my health and still bring me joy with that great memory? First of all, good morning, J-Deb Shacks. Lovely to see you. Oh, and she said, looking great. Well, thank you so much. Feeling great as well. Today is all about joy. So I'm going to dive straight into the recipe. I'm going to show you right now how to make a low-carb sponge cake, and you're going to love it. And hopefully all that joy from Auntie Bubs is going to head your way. First of all, what we need to do is I've got some egg yolks. Super easy. You know, I've separated egg yolks from egg whites. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make these really creamy by adding in some Natvia. Now, this is the sugar alternative that I use as a low carber, because I can't have a lot of sugars. My body doesn't process them very well. So I'm using Natvia, and I use this product. I'm not being paid to tell you this, by the way. I use it because I like it. It's reliable and it tastes great. So it's an equivalent to sugar. In fact, it gives you an idea of how much Natvia you need to replace sugar in a recipe. Absolutely brilliant product. So I'm actually going to take, I've got 1/3 of a cup here of Natvia. I'm going to put some of that in with my egg yolks, and I'm actually going to cream those up. Right, just like that. So we're going to make them all creamy. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually add that into the mix with some almond meal. Now, at the same time, you're probably going, okay, so what's she going to do with the egg whites? A great question. Here's the egg whites that I prepared earlier as well. I didn't want to do it on camera because I wanted to save a bit of time. I'm going to pour 4 egg whites there into my benchtop mixer. And the reason why I'm using a mixer is I'm incredibly lazy and I can't be bothered standing there with an egg beater, as much as I love my egg beater and it brings me joy because it's one of those old-fashioned ones. I just don't have time to muck around. I would rather put this on and go and have a cup of tea. So I'm going to start that whizzing away right now. And I want those egg whites to get to the point where they start getting a bit foamy, and then I'm going to add the next ingredients. So these we cream up, and we're going to mix it all together. That's looking pretty good. Okay, here, almond meal. So this dish is low in carbs, it is high in fat. But the cool thing is when you're eating something that's higher in fat, you don't need a huge portion to feel satisfied. And that's one of the things I love about it. Good morning, by the way. If you're watching online, I'm sorry I can't see your comments coming through, but please do feel free to say hi. And if I can see them coming through, I will message you back later on today. So 1.5 cups here of almond meal going into my mixing bowl. And I'm going to mix into that. I've got a teaspoon of baking powder. I mean, it couldn't get much easier than that, to be fair. We're going to mix that through as well. So you've got to mix your dry ingredients. Now that's ready to zoom up a little bit. Okay. Egg yolks are going to go in here as well. And seriously, this is so simple. And while I was making it the other day, I thought I was dreaming up all the toppings that I could put on top. You know, what can I have? I can have cream. I can have cream and strawberries, which are absolutely fantastic at this time of year. Now I'm going to mix those in. It will look a bit odd and it will go a bit lumpy, but that's all right because our egg whites are actually going to loosen that up. Now, speaking of which, go back to here. We're starting to get a little bit foamy here in the bowl with my egg whites. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yeah, you can kind of see that. What I'm actually going to do now is add in, I've got a teaspoon here of apple cider vinegar. That goes in there. And I'm also going to add in a pinch of salt. That's really important as well. We're going to whiz that right up now. Keep that mixing through. Good to see you guys watching this morning. Oh, I've got 3 comments going on here. Oh, J. Shacks, coconut sugar is also great. A really good point. I do love coconut sugar. I find it tends to change the flavour of foods a little bit too much. So I like to choose something that is a bit more neutral, which is why I really love Natvia. Okay, let's have a look. That's foaming up beautifully. Oh yeah, so what happens is the egg whites start to increase in volume, and that's something you need to be aware of. So I'm going to stop that now. I'm going to open that up so it's really starting to look good. Now I've got the rest of my Natvia here. So remember, we've only used 1/3 of a cup in this whole recipe, and this is all low GI. I'm going to add in some of that. I'm going to give that another blend. Oh, I love it. Seriously, this is such a good recipe. And my favourite toppings are cream and strawberries because strawberries are in season. I just got here a pomegranate, which will be beautiful as well with cream because cream is great on everything. I use on my cream, if I want to sweeten or flavour it, I use a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of Natvia just to give me a little bit of extra flavour. Okay, we're going to have a look at that. Here we go. Oh, looking good. I'm going to put the rest of my Natvia in there. Beautiful. And we're on the final blend. Looking good. I'm just checking who's online. There's heaps of you online today. Hey, hi, I want to know where you're watching from as well. It's great to see you guys. Now, coming up today in the show, we are talking about the power of joy. We're talking about you if you are stuck in your career, perhaps. I've got Caroline Sanford, who's a lovely friend of mine and an expert in careers, coming in to talk to you about those common questions. You know, what do you do if you hate your job? What do you do if you can't get out of bed in the morning because your workplace and your colleagues, let's be honest, are sucking the lifeblood out of you? Don't do it. She's got some great strategies to share on how you can overcome those icky feelings. Right, let's have a look. Looking so good. Oh, I think we're nearly done. Oh, we are, because we have beautiful foam going on there. Let's take that off, give that a bit of a shake. Excellent. Put that away. Okay, so inside, hopefully you can still see that on the camera. Am I on the wrong side there? No, we're good. There you've got your beautiful egg whites. And what we're going to do is we're going to take half of that and mix that through our egg and almond meal mixture. And you'll think, oh, it's going to be a bit ick, because you'll notice when I first do it, it's sort of, it looks a bit lumpy, but trust me on this one, it will mix through beautifully. Now, the one thing I can warn you about is you need to go a bit easy, Tiger, on this, because we've built up all the air inside that foam and we don't want to kind of suck the lifeblood out of the foam. You know what I'm saying? We want to use that air that's in your mix there to be able to create a little bit of rise, because this tends to be quite a flat, almost slightly pavlova style sponge. And I'm just going to mix that all through. See, you can tell I'm not a master chef, that's for sure. I'm a real home cook. We're going to mix that through. Now these egg whites will actually loosen up that slightly more solid mix. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be real good. So it's going to loosen it up. Now you see it's starting to go a bit lumpy, so we're getting a little bit of that liquid coming through there. Beautiful. Now you actually want to keep the air in there. You kind of want to slice it through like that. You don't want to mix it round. That is looking great, actually. I'll get the last bit of my egg whites out there. I mean, you can see how quick and easy this is. So if you need to impress your friends if they're coming over at the last minute, look, what's the key things you always have in your pantry? Look, even if you need to use sugar in this, you can. You don't have to make sure you've got, everything. But almond meal is a staple in my kitchen, that's for sure. I adore it. I use it for everything. It's great on your breakfast cereal. It adds extra fiber and it adds extra good fats that you need for, healthy lifestyle and all that sort of jargon that we need to know about. So there you go. I'm mixing those egg whites through, and remember, fold it in, because you want to keep those pockets of air to help your sponge cake rise. Super simple, nearly done. And so yeah, you can whip this up in about 10 minutes. I put it into an oven for about 20 minutes, I think it took to cook. And yeah, really simple. Just flick that bit back in there. Really simple, and I set my oven to around 200 degrees. And by the way, if you want the recipe, it's actually already loaded onto my website, moniquebradley.co.nz. Okay, that is looking great. Don't want to overmix it either. Perfect. Wash the excess off my hands. Fantastic. Now down the back here, got the handy dandy cake tin, which I adore. This is my favorite. I've used it for a million years. Silicone. For this recipe, I would probably use a slightly smaller tin, but this was all I had, just purely because this sponge cake doesn't rise, because you're using almond meal, you're not using flour. It doesn't rise like your old-fashioned sponge cakes. It will be slightly flatter. So you might want to use a smaller cake tin, then you can get a deeper pav. You can a deeper sponge cake. You can cut it through the middle and add your cream and your fillings. I probably wouldn't use a jam, because jam's just too high in sugar, too high in carbs. Look at that. I'm going to spoon that in. So when I first was testing all the recipes to make the sponge cake, boy oh boy did I have some misadventures going on. There were all sorts of recipes that were just far too complicated, and I just thought, I haven't got time for that. I want something that's relatively simple. So that's why I did a bit more testing and tried a few things out, and basically decided this was the best option, not too energy intensive. Look, if I can do it, so can you. That's my theory. If I can do it live on camera, then anybody can do it. Now, I'm not gonna get too sort of sensitive about it. I didn't need to grease the container. I didn't even put any sort of paper in the bottom or anything. There we go. Now, you'll notice it's still a very lumpy mixture, but bear with, it will sort itself in the oven, and that's what I loved about it as well. It's kind of a low maintenance kind of recipe, and I like that, because I haven't got time to stress. So that is going into the oven, 20 minutes on 200. I always use fan bake because I loves it, and I am very happy with that. I'll put that into the oven right now, and just like real TV, here's one I prepared earlier. I've always wanted to say that. So what would I top that with? I have done some cream here, and I'm going to, because it's all about, with low carb, you've got to have some fats in there to add to the mix. So I've got some cream. I've sweetened this today with a little bit of Natvia. Oh, look at that. A little bit of Natvia in there. Yeah, you can add, look, I don't know, whatever you like. What's your favourites? Just going to add that on top like that. Oh yeah. You can kind of make it, you can be tidy if you like, but I'm not really a tidy kind of cook. Here we go. Just so long as there's kind of cream everywhere. That's my rule of thumb. Oh, so good. And the other thing that I love, this is one of my other favorite products that has really helped me on my low carb journey. You know those moments, oh, so tasty. You know those moments where you're really craving chocolate? This is my favorite right here. This is, can you see that? Yes, you can. I'll just grab my grater. That's chocolate by Healtheries, and I love this. It's about $2 at the supermarket. It's no added sugar and it's sweetened with stevia. So this one has hazelnuts in it, so I'm actually going to grate a little bit of that over top of my sponge cake. So that is pretty exciting right there. Throw that out of the way. Oh yeah, I'll use the bigger one. So it gives you a little chocolatey hit on the top. And that, my friends, chocolate everywhere. That, my friends, is joy in a sponge cake right there. And you can feel good about yourself because it's all low carb. And that's how I love to embrace my beautiful Auntie Bubs and her love of baking that has brought joy to our family. So there you go, team. That's how you do it right there. Isn't that just a little piece of heaven right there? Can you imagine that with fresh strawberries as well? Amazing. So the recipe is already on my website. You can head there right now, or after the show actually. Noted. Head to moniquebradley.co.nz and my recipe is right there on the front page. If you see, I've got some food gratitude for Ray McVinney. I've got low carb hash browns on there, how to make low carb Anzac biscuits, and my low carb sponge cake. So there you go. That's how it's done, my friends. Head to that website after the show and you can grab that recipe and give it a whirl in your own kitchen and create your own happy memories. So it's a big time in the show. Coming up very shortly, I'll be speaking with Caroline Sanford. She is a career expert. I'd love to know how many of you currently hate your career, because her business, Love Your Career, is ready to turn that around. And the cool thing is she's more than just a career coach. She's here to coach you out of maybe a little bit of a dark patch to help you find your joy right across your life. So she's coming up very shortly. In the meantime, one of my lovely lady friends who I work with regularly on a Monday night is Lynette Hill. She's a registered naturopath and owner of My Remedy Health Clinic in Milford here in Auckland. And she came into the studio recently, and while she was here, I said, Lynette, can you share a little bit of wisdom with me that I can share on my show? And this is what Lynette had to say. Let's take a look right now.
Hi, I'm Lynette Hill. I'm a naturopath and I'm an advocate of natural medicine, but what makes me me is I have a lot of love in my heart. I have a lot of love for fun. I have a lot of love for my family and my friends. And the thing that really set me free to just enjoy who I am is acknowledging myself and listening to those little voices in my head that were really good ideas and saying, hey, that is a good idea. I'm going to believe in that and I'm going to act on that. It took me probably till my mid-40s to really let go of what I thought people wanted me to be and to be who I wanted to be. And the moment I stopped worrying about how I looked and how I appeared and what other people thought and made their stuff more important than my stuff was the moment that I was truly free to live a really healthy, happy, free life. And that's something that I try and bring into my daily life and into my practice where I work. You know, who are you? What matters to you? No, don't listen to all the peripheral stuff. Go with you. And when you acknowledge that and you give that some love and some attention, it's amazing how freeing that is.
Well, if you've just joined today's live stream, kia ora, I'm Monique Bradley. Welcome to the YourFixTV studio. I am here today with gorgeous Caroline Sanford, one of my lovely lady friends, who is a life changer. She's a game changer when it comes to your career. And for those of you, and I know I know who you are because you message me all the time and tell me how much you hate your career, you hate your job, your colleagues are morons, and you need to do something and you're not sure where to start. Caroline is the lady to speak to. Good morning, Caroline.
Good morning, Monique. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Look, I know for a fact that we've worked together extensively.
Yes.
I know what you've done for people. You are a life changer. First of all, how did you get into that industry?
Interesting story. I come from a background of HR and I did a master's in industrial psychology, and so it's all in that space. And when I went off and had my children, looking back to get into it, I decided I didn't want to get into HR. I'd rather work with the person to really help them to find their joy.
Yeah, find their joy.
Absolutely. And
that's what it's about.
It was all about, so I retrained and I did a grad cert in career development and went that way. But I think that the biggest thing is where it came from originally was because I saw my dad really unhappy. And I know that, we don't have to be. And so it's really, really important, to really find what you truly want to do.
Right. And you've had some pretty cool business credits sort of stack up over the years. What you've written for the New Zealand Herald.
Yes.
And you've been on, what's the governing board you were on with the careers industry?
The National Executive for Career Development Association, and I'm now back on it.
Oh, yay!
Yay.
That's congratulations.
I want to make a difference in careers. I want to ensure that everyone has access to really good career help, because I think we all need it, deserve it.
Perfect. Yeah. I totally agree. And if you think about it, we spend 8 hours or more of our day doing a job. Why do a job that makes you feel physically ill? I've been in that situation before, and I had to find my joy and find a space in the career market for me. And that's quite hard when my skill is really just to talk. I mean, I can do other stuff.
You do it so well.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So it really is about finding your joy, and that's the one thing I've really got from working with Caroline is that once you find that, that's what fuels you, and if you can turn that into a job or find a way to do a job and still find your joy outside of that job space, at least you're finding some balance.
Absolutely.
So, Caroline, I'm going to put you on the spot today because over the last few months of doing this show, I have had people in real life messaging me with real pain points about their lives and their career.
Okay.
And I'm not the expert to help them. However, they've seen we've done work together and they want me to pass these questions on to you.
Sure.
So, it is a bit of a live Q&A going on right now.
Do my best.
Yeah, and if you do have any questions, please send them through on the stream. Oh, Susan Jarrett said, Caroline is a life changer. She helped me find a new career that I love.
Hi,
Susan, that's so cool. Thank you for messaging in. I really appreciate that. So, here we go. One of the messages I actually personally received was from one of my followers.
Yep.
Everything sucks. I hate my job. Monique, what should I do?
Oh, dear.
And I thought, out of my realm of expertise, let me pass that on to Caroline.
Yeah. And actually there's a huge amount of people in that space who are doing work that doesn't bring them joy, they're unhappy, and it sucks the life out of them. And literally I have people in my office that come and say, my soul is dying. Using language like that is just huge. And, what's really, really important is to take action. And it comes back to you, like going back to yourself and understanding who you are. So what's really important is, understanding what's important to you, your interests, what gives you energy, So it's not going, okay, I'm going to make a quick change like that. It's really important to stop and go, okay, what is it that I want? What is it that I need? What is it that helps me get through the day.
So thinking more strategically about not just now, about, that sort of knee-jerk reaction of jumping off and free-falling into a new career, which could, take the same baggage with you, but thinking about what do I actually want my end game to look like?
That's right. And it's really being, stepping back, actually, and taking the time to understand you. And not many times in our life do we do that. We don't actually go, what is it that I want? We often react. We for example, you go back to school days and you study maybe what you're good at, and then you somehow might get channeled into that, or you go and get your job because someone else gave it to you. There's an opportunity. We often don't sit back and go, actually, what is it that I want? What is it that gives me energy? Where do I thrive in this world? And when you stop and find that out, then you can go, okay, now I can look out there instead of jumping to that first job thinking it's going to be my saving grace. Is actually consider it and think, well, this is who I am. This is what this job offers, and it's really important to find that out. And then, okay, that fits, that's a good fit, or it's not a good fit, but it's actually being strategic about it.
And being a bit more powerful in your own, or standing in your own power and making a constructive decision. That's not just I'll just do it because I need the money, but thinking more constructively about that future. That's cool.
Absolutely. And also, we all need money, in some way, but it's you don't want to sort of do it jump to something and then you get stuck in it and you can't make a move, and it's still taking the lifeblood out of you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, just to let you guys know, before we hit the other questions, on Caroline's website, which is loveyourcareer.co.nz. In fact, I think we've got a screenshot of her website. There's her website right there. And you'll see there's the big Love Your Career on the front page. On that website, you can actually go up there and you've got some options. You can work with her. If you click the Work With Me button, it gives you an idea of how you can work together. And that might be in real life, or she actually has a really valuable online course which really helps you find clarity around that question.
Absolutely.
Working on that course with you, you know, when we recorded your video assets.
Yes.
You know, I learned so much about myself. So regardless if you're going for a career change, you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, the course is really worth going through as well. It's 4 key videos that you watch. Plus, there are some worksheets that you can download and work through. Incredibly valuable to help you understand yourself and taking that power into a job interview as well. You know, knowing that information, it gives you the power to make a better decision.
Absolutely. And also, when you know yourself well, you can speak that language. You can talk about what you do well. You can really stand behind that. You can give evidence of it because, you know, it's there at the forefront. And when you are speaking from your truth, you know you're speaking with power, and that comes across in an interview as well.
Love it. Love it. Okay, question number 2 that has been sent to me. Workplace bullying is very common in my workplace, particularly with me. So this is one person who's messaged me about it.
Right.
What should I do?
Yes. Well, I think the bottom line is workplace bullying is unacceptable for anyone. What is really important, everyone's situation is really different, so it's important to find out that. So rather than give advice on that, but really part of it is finding out your support. So I think the one thing about bullying, it's all about shaming. Sometimes that you feel ashamed and you don't share it. So it's really important to share what's going on. So it's finding out who's your support network, who are your champions. Is it HR? Is it other workmates? So actually talking about what's going on. Is this a common thing that's happening in the workplace, or is it just what's happening to me? Okay, so what do I need to do next? But it's not staying silent. That is really important. I
love that. Don't stay silent. Have a voice or find a voice. So for the person who sent me this, because I know you're watching today, please contact Caroline. Because that's what she does. She'll help you find your voice, and I can guarantee it's a game changer.
And also, you know, everyone's story is different. It's really important to work with what's happening to you, as opposed to, you know, having a blank, you know, overall answer.
Okay, so here's another question for you. A number of my friends are in the same age bracket, so in the 40s, and they are in that situation where they're working for an organisation and suddenly their role becomes redundant, or they are changing the role and they're actually replacing people with graduates or younger people coming out of university because they can pay them less. What does somebody do in that situation? Because there are so many people in their 40s and in their 50s who are capable and have knowledge and expertise, but they're falling through the cracks. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, the workplace now, and it's going to be even more so, is going to be full of change. You know, that is guaranteed. So even if that isn't happening where jobs are being replaced, definitely organisations are downsizing or refiguring or whatever. So there's always going to be change. So what's really important is to get into the driver's seat of your own career, not to wait for things to happen to you, to really figure out what's happening there. So, you know, eyes up, what's going on? Okay, I can see that, you know, this technology is coming into, it may replace me, or, you know, I can see that they're looking at maybe merging with another organisation. What do I need to do? Do I need to be involved in projects so they say I'm valuable, or do I need to look around and see how I can actually offer value to this organisation? Or maybe this is an opportunity for me to look outside with the information I've already talked about of understanding what you want and making it happen for yourself.
Gotcha. Yeah. Excellent. I'm just checking the news feed as well. Good to see you guys all watching this morning. It's lovely to have you with us as well. Okay, so next question. This is actually from me. This is a question. So this actually happened to me. I was in a job that I secretly hated. I wouldn't admit it to myself because I was getting paid quite well, but I secretly hated it. And there were so I worked in a team of 66 people, and at least 2/3 of them probably secretly hated the job as well. And we were all sick.
Oh dear.
We were all really ill. Do you think it was because, and it was quite a high pressure job, do you think it was because of that pressure that we were sick, or what's going on? Because we were all not sure what to do.
Okay, so without knowing the full circumstances, first of all, if you're all sick, there may be something going on in the actual building. Needs to be checked out.
Sick building syndrome.
Let's write that one off.
Yeah.
And say if people are not enjoying the job, we are whole people. We don't just go to our job and then get home and we're different people. It affects every being of us. So when things aren't going well, and whether it's a job, whether it's parts of our life, it affects our inner being, our well-being.
Yes.
And that is hugely important, because like I have worked with people who have been continually sick, and they haven't connected necessarily that being sick is related to how unhappy they may be.
Wow. Yeah.
When they do that though, and they look and they can make changes, their whole life changes, because they're suddenly excited. You know, you can think of it, you know, the whole raft of different chemicals going through your brain when you are happy and when you're excited, as opposed to when you're not. So they get up in the morning and they want to go to work and they can succeed, as opposed to, oh my God, this is such hard work. You know, and that negativity, it just feeds, and you know, so important. Health is at the core of this. That if you are really happy in what you do, you know, other things are going to flow really well.
So it comes back to the power of joy.
Absolutely.
And when I read those statistics that statistically happy people earn more money, why wouldn't you want to do something that you enjoy?
Oh yes, hello. You know, there's that good old saying of do what you love and the money will follow, and I know it's like that sort of phrase, but it's true. When you're doing something you love, you will do it well, you will be engaged, you will work hard because you love it, and therefore money will follow from that.
Oh, I love it, Caroline. Absolutely amazing. So I had somebody recently message me and saying, Monique, you're amazing because you gave up everything and you started your own business.
Easy.
Should I do that too? Should I quit my job that I hate and start my own business?
Right. Okay.
What are your thoughts on that, Caroline?
Okay. So what's really important, and this whole theme, you know, of what I've been talking about, is really not to jump into something because it may not be the right thing for you. It's no sort of knee-jerk reactions aren't the best option. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So really, really important is, again, you know, like being self-employed, working for yourself can be amazing for some people. For others, it can be the worst.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there's so much more involved than just working for yourself.
24/7.
Yeah,
just putting it out there.
24/7. You know, doing your tax and your accounts, lots of stuff. You know, so it's not just a simple picture. So what's really important is, first of all, understand whether it's the right thing for you. So doing your research.
Yes.
Secondly, is going out there and talking to people who are in those spaces and find out the reality. So that big thing, there's two parts, you know, to making good decisions for yourself. First of all, understanding you. Second, understanding out there. And so doing due diligence, asking the right questions of the right people.
Perfect. Gotcha. Excellent. I love that. Finally, on the questions, somebody I know, and I know you're watching as well today because I've seen you in the news feed, messaged me going through transition in her own life and said, I'm qualified, and, you know, this age group, I'd do just about anything for a job, but I keep getting told I'm overqualified and I'll get bored, but I need the money.
Right.
In a situation like that, what should I do?
Yeah, okay. You know, and sometimes it's a catch-22 when you need the money. But if you're overqualified, the question you've got to ask is, are you applying for the right jobs?
Oh, good point. Really good point, Caroline.
So it's first of all understanding, you know, kind of where you're targeting. So so maybe it's upping the ante if you're overqualified to where you should, you know, that people see you're absolutely right. But also it's finding your champions. So sometimes when you apply for jobs, and when they've been advertised on the Seek or Trade Me or going to recruiters, you are in a highly competitive market. You are competing with 50, 100, 200 people sometimes, and you are just a piece of paper, really. So it's very hard to be seen. And so it's therefore, you know, going a creative way for people to actually see you and go, okay, I understand what you want. Okay, I can see that you've got huge great qualifications, this is what you want, I will help you get there. But that you're talking to a person as opposed to a piece of paper.
Ah, gotcha. So defining your point of difference. So for me, I would send a video of myself talking, you know, because it's my skill, to if I was going for a job, I'd be like, well, you know, want me in a front-facing role, here's my personality, here's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm competent for this role. I may not have the data entry skills you require, but I'm a fast learner. So something like that?
Yes, something like that, absolutely. Going a little bit of a different way, but also not waiting for a job to be advertised. Identifying this is where I want to work. So, you know, identifying I want to work with these people. Okay, then I'm going to be proactive and have a conversation with them. And they can, you know, so they get to know me as opposed to, you know, just seeing me as being overqualified or not meeting the qualifications or whatever it is. So I'm not getting that real connection, so people don't understand what I want and they don't get to see who I am.
And also one of the things I've learned from working with you is the understanding of your transferable skills. So if you're a mum at home, as an example, you are fantastic with time management and problem solving. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
So don't undervalue those skills, those learned skills you have here in life that really have given you so much knowledge. You know, something that somebody straight out of university can't do. They haven't developed those skills yet. So really play up those skills that you have. Being a domestic goddess, you know, that teaches you about organisation.
Yes, and also I think with women return to work, I know this from employers, that they're one of the best sources or sort of group to work with because they're hard workers. They go there and they perform because they've got other stuff they have to do, but you know, they're focused, they deliver. You know, you can guarantee you're going to get 150% out of them, you know. And
they're great networkers
as well. And they're great networkers, and you know, they're problem solvers, and so absolutely all those transferable skills come to the fore. So, you know, I sometimes get people that say they've got no skills. Everyone's got skills. It's sometimes just realising and picking that out.
Perfect. Okay, so finally, before we finish up today, Caroline, your top tips when it comes to, is it time to change your career? I think that's the question, is it? Yeah, top tips when it's time to make a career change.
So if any of you out there are unhappy in your job, if you keep on having those conversations, those same old conversations, I hate my job, I hate all those sort of things.
And your friends are getting tired of hearing that story again.
If you find it really hard to pull yourself out of bed in the morning to go to your job, you know, if you just go, oh no, not again on Sunday night, you know, all those things, if you find it really demotivating to be there, you can't wait to get home, all those are signs that you're in the wrong place, or the job in that particular organisation is not right for you, because it could be that you find something else in the organisation. So really important is listening to yourself, be in touch with your intuition and going, hang on guys, this is, you know, I was here last year, it's time for a change now.
Love it. Thank you so much, Caroline. Okay. Now, if you do want support from Caroline, or you want to pick her brains, or you want to try her online course, or you want to do a one-on-one session, it doesn't matter where you are, even in the world. She does Skype consultations as well to help you find your vocation, find your purpose, find your vision of the future, and create that life you really love through creating or finding the career you love. You can head to her website, www.loveyourcareer.co.nz, and it's got the services she offers, how you can work with her, and her online course is also served through that portal. Really incredible value on that course, a great price point, and having gone through all the modules myself, it is a life changer. I'm just putting it out there. I cannot tell people enough how good that course is. After one of the modules, I actually cried with relief. I'm not even kidding. It was truly transformational in my life. Right, Caroline, thank you so much for being here in the studio today. I really value what you do in the world. I know there's so many people who do as well, and please know from all of us, you are a life changer.
Oh, thanks,
so thank you. Thanks for being with me. And thanks to you guys for watching. We love being with you here on a Wednesday morning. Please share the show. If this has been of value to you and you want to help your friends, share these low carb recipes, share my guest experts, because they're to help you make your life happier, more fabulous and more enjoyable, because what's all this unhappiness in the world? I'm not happy with it at all. It's all about the power of joy today.
Let's get rid of it.
Yeah, so I want to hear from you. Look, if you've got a great product or brand and perhaps you want to learn for yourself how to find the perfect pair of jeans, I have access to some of the best stylists in the country. Amazing fashion brands. If you want really, really leading edge health advice, I can bring that to you on the show. And also, if you're an advertiser, do consider if you want branding on the show, or if you want your product demonstrated, just like I've done today, please contact me. Send me an email, info@YourFix.tv. That's the production company that produces this show. And look, we can create your own segment showcasing just how amazing your products are, which of course is a wonderful way to advertise, especially through Facebook, because they're so tough on advertising these days.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
So I say, let's be sneaky.
Yeah.
I also have to say a big thank you to all of my key supporters there. Kathy Organics for my beautiful skin, Romina for Argentina for getting rid of my mustache, Fabulous Vu for the gorgeous jewellery I wear every episode, OBR Merino who have created my gorgeous dress today, and Evelyn Rose Lashes for my pretty peepers. Also, a big shout out to Lynette Hill, who was my guest expert there in the middle of the show, for her wonderful words of wisdom. Anyway, time to go. Remember, find your joy. It could be funny cat videos, it could be making my low-carb sponge, it could be going for a walk on the beach. Whatever it is, find your joy. And remember, team, be careful out there. 98% of people are caused by accident. See you guys next week, Wednesday, 11 a.m. See you. Love you guys. Bye.